Jesse, for sharing what you all have done for many years in this industry and sharing this as a community benefit. So we really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I take a picture and I'll leave.
Hi, everybody. This is Jesse. Just a quick background. I actually work in the insurance industry. My background is, I'm just gonna give you a quick background. I work in the insurance industry for about 24 years for the same large insurance company. And about 5 years ago, came together with Jesse, who has worked for Service Masters for about 23 years. Prior to that, doing hands-on restoration, just like this. So, we're not, we don't claim to be experts in everything that you guys might have questions about, but we know that industry standard and IIC regulations with regard to cleaning up the buildings. And so we're gonna go through that. We don't recommend that anybody clean their own house. This is what we do for a living, and there's a reason for it. But we understand that not everybody's in a situation to hire a professional. So, our disclaimer is that, we don't recommend that anyone clean their own home. So we would like one to share the knowledge that we have for people who, that's the only option.
Hi, I'm Jesse. Nice to meet you all. Thank you for being here. I guess the number one thing that we see in the industry. Okay. I guess the number one thing that we want to mention to everybody, and the one thing that we emphasize being in the industry, is safety. We want to be safe with basically, getting on a ladder. We want to make sure that we touch the product, all over chemicals and things like that with gloves. You want to protect your eyes. You don't want to just basically spray something or be cleaning something in this evening and something falls on your eyes. So we always recommend for you to use like a respirator, your gloves. PPE, like suits, is optional unless you're removing insulation or doing something like a lot of cleaning. Aside from that, maybe some booties so you don't trap everything throughout your house. Once you there you go. Thank you. Once you have your safety into consideration, we try to basically clean from the top down.
Yeah. So we're gonna be pretty basic because most homes are pretty similar. I mean, everybody got walls, everybody got ceilings, the flooring, and it's all pretty similar. So the most important thing when cleaning a structure is doing it from the top down and from the exterior out. So you gotta pick one corner of the house and work your way back. You'll see that the notes on here, there's some notes regarding like flat paint and glossy paint, like glossy surfaces versus like flat surfaces like books or unfinished wood. There's just a different way to clean those things. I'll be honest, when we talked about doing this training, we thought it was gonna be with like 10 people, where we would like train 10 people to do it really specifically and get into like a lot of details. And then maybe those 10 people would like share that knowledge, so we weren't quite prepared for this. And we want to get as much information as possible in a really limited amount of time, but the simplest way to explain it is if it's a flat paint or flat type surface, like you need a different kind of cleaning supply. These chem sponges are dry, they pick up soot and smoke. You don't get them wet. We use them multiple times, multiple passes. We actually split them in half. We tear them in half so that there's more surface area.
Can you explain what the chem sponges are?
Yeah. Jesse.
So these are dry. There's no moisture to them or anything like that. You can go ahead and basically open them up and basically just white surfaces. You want to do that on flat surfaces. I picked up a couple of samples from Home Depot. They're sheer colors, like it tells you if a surface is flat. You guys can maybe take a couple and basically pass it around so you see what I'm talking about. but these are readily available at Home Depot. Basically, you want to use these for flat surfaces. You can use it for high gloss paint, for something that has high gloss, but these are mainly for for flat surfaces. The reason for that is because if you place like a wet towel on your flat surface, it'll smear the smoke and it won't look good. So that's why we use the dry cleaning sponges. As well as books,
Things that can't get wet.
boxes, maybe like something, any piece of furniture that doesn't have a gloss to it. Those are the kind of things that you want to use a dry cleaning sponge for.
Oh, it's kind of fun.
Can sponge, can sponge, that kind of one.
CHEM.
I think you can get these from Amazon if you need them, and they're washable. You can wash them and basically reuse them. Just in washer, and you just throw them in the washer. You wash them in. They'll still be stained like inside, but they'll still pull some of the soot out. So basically, we just throw them in the washer. Sometimes you need to take apart furniture, basically to make yourself a little bit more room. I recommend this set. It has like a wrench. It has basically some dies and things like that, and like a screwdriver, so you can take apart furniture. It's not that expensive, so it works really well. Flat.
It's for things that can't get wet, that you wouldn't use any kind of wet material. Flat painted wall. Like glossy, most walls are glossy. Have some gloss. The cleaning solution that you can make with water. 90% water.
Upfront sealing, we typically suggest removal. We don't really basically have a procedure for it. The industry just removes.
Can you repeat the question?
The question was about popcorn sealing. Like acoustics?
So, just because in the insurance world, because that's where most people, that's usually what we are dealing with, is the insurance companies that are paying the claim, they allow for removal of the popcorn sealer. And so we will vacuum it while we're there cleaning, and then that's kind of in between the insurance company and the homeowner. It's not something we get involved in. We don't remove the popcorn sealing. That's not something that we can do. So the standard would typically be to remove.
We rent, we have popcorn ceiling, we have liability insurance that the landlord people pay, but it's for the whole cost. So, shouldn't we address that with the landlord first before we clean, like, we clean everything and then remove?
It could, I mean, it could be done either way, but we wouldn't, I mean. Again, and a disclaimer, I don't know what insurance companies pay for the popcorn ceiling to be removed and what don't, and why, and how to justify it, so, I don't know. It needs to be done, or that would be the recommendation, but.
So while y'all are talking and you guys have questions, I'm going to write down questions that Ricky and Jesse don't have the best answers to, because they do this professionally. They work with insurance and do basically what the insurance will allow. So it might be different in your home, the extent of what can be done. But we will take notes and myself, I plan to do a little more research to see what kind of methods could be used to try to clean up popcorn ceiling. But some remediation is better than none. But yeah, so there will be some limitations of this presentation, unfortunately. But we'll do our best to fill in the gaps with some more research. And Jesse and Ricky will do their best to, explain as much as they can on their experience. Yeah, Rika,
Yeah. Whenever they answer a question, can they repeat the question? Because the people in the back aren't able to hear. If they can repeat the question
Yes.
and answer, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, do we want to kind of just take questions at the end? Okay, yeah, so, you're gonna have tons of questions as we go through. They're also planning, to talk about kind of the general process too, not just the items and materials. So, as you're going down, if you guys got pens, write your questions as you come up with them, and at the end, we'll take them all at once. Anything we don't get to, we'll make a note of and do our best to come up with an answer and email that all out to everyone, okay? Thank you.
That's great. So, really, it's just trying to figure out, are you using a dry material or wet material to clean with? It's really, the gist of identifying the materials. Soft goods, are things that you would wash, like your clothes, your pillows, your bedding. And then it's really just sorting out, what can be laundered, what you have to take to a dry cleaner. To us, the things you would take to a dry cleaner are the things you would typically take to a dry cleaner. And the things that you would launder are the things you would typically wash in a washing machine. And then I'm gonna let Jesse start with the process, mostly just because he's done it hands-on for a long time, and has trained lots and lots of different people to do it.
Okay, so,
Excuse me? Can we squeeze a little bit more inside? We have some folks outside. Is that possible?
So let's try to squeeze in. There's actually a lot of room to the left here. There's a little thing right there. There's actually some room for 2 people in the front here. Don't be shy. We have some chairs in the back. So maybe we can bring some of the chairs over here. And then if the rows, if you can squeeze to the left, if everybody can kind of squeeze to the left. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, if you already have insurance, this probably isn't the training for you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for moving to the left so that we can make more room for people outside. Wow. I think we're having over 100 people. It's not really fire safety appropriate. So I'm just saying that. I know. There's an exit there. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
While people are coming in, I just want to say, when I was learning about this, I was confused too, because I was like, it's just cleaning, right? But actually, when there's smoke in your unit and it settles, it does leave a film. It's not just the ash and the soot. So what I realized when they fully do remediation, they wrap everything in your unit, they take it to another warehouse, they decontaminate it. All your soft goods, like your fabrics, your desk, and then they bring it all back, And if they don't do that, if it's modified, they do that cleaning, like they'll wipe down every floor. You know what I'm saying? They'll wipe down every book to get all that stuff out. That's why you use the chem sponge. So just think about it like that. And like there, we've got 5 more seats over here.
Someone has to move so we can get 5 people.
Come on, don't be shy. Come on in.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, you're just in time. We're just going over some basic safety things that we should all wear, and then they were about to go into the process. That's a great idea. Let's move that in so people can hear us.
Thanks. Just for the new people, our disclaimer in the beginning is that we don't recommend that people clean their own homes in a situation like this. And we're just sharing our knowledge for people that have to and don't have any other option. So, it's unfortunate that, there's so many people in this situation, and we wish we could help everybody. And just not the case, and just to get through this, we're just gonna hold the questions until the end, so that we can hopefully just get through the main bullet points. I'm gonna have to share more information with MG and B later. B, are you like a contact B?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're not gonna be the people to follow up with questions, it'll probably be,
Yeah, it's firepoppyproject@gmail.com. Okay, firepoppyproject@gmail.com. Okay?
Can you repeat it?
Fire poppy. Okay, it's on the bottom of the page if you have the page, but it's firepoppyproject@gmail.com.
so Jesse's just gonna go through the process for, this is for cleaning the structure. And again, this is when your property is still on site because your insurance company's not paying to have a company come pick it all up and take it to a warehouse and have it professionally cleaned and stored while your structure is clean and then brought back out. So this would be the.
Okay, so we're going to start with, what you typically do when we first look at a room, let's start room by room. You typically want to box anything that is on top of any furniture. You wanna grab boxes like this and put like anything that's maybe on top of your furniture, box it in, and then after that, after you move that, after you move your contents out, we want to cover it with like a thin plastic. It doesn't have to be thick. We use this painter's plastic you can get at Home Depot. And you cover your furniture because what you're going to do next is wipe the ceilings. You don't want all that dust to fall on your furniture. You want to basically, because that dust attaches to your ceilings and your walls, and you want to wipe it, and basically in case it falls onto your furniture, there's a plastic layer so it doesn't get into your furniture. In case you have a flat ceiling, you want to use like a flat, like no sheen, no gloss ceiling. You want to use a hand sponge and maybe either use a ladder or use one of those poles that holds sponges on like this and basically just wipe it. You just need to do like a few passes per section. You want to work maybe like maybe 4 feet by maybe like a foot and a half section, and then work your way to basically throughout the whole ceiling and wall. In case you have a high gloss paint in your ceiling, in your wall, or anything like that, you want to use hairy towels with a product that is intended to remove smoke. We'll use this firepower stove that usually like commercial building, commercial basically suppliers. The method that we use is we fold the towel into 8 sections. You mix the solution properly. Usually there's that on the side of the instructions, it tells you how many ounces per gallon. You don't want to use too much. You don't want to use too little. You want to use what it says on the side of the bottle. Typically, in case you have more, like a higher amount of soot, it'll tell you to use like a little more, usually it's double the amount per gallon or something like that. You want to fill up your bucket with warm water if you have it available. But maybe like 3 or 4 inches, not too high. The reason for that is because you want the water to get cold. So basically, you put your towel, maybe 5 or 6 of these towels into your bucket. When you pull it out, you want to work on each side. We call it the 8-side method because you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's the method that we use to kind of be efficient on the removal of soot with towels. That's for high gloss only. Same thing for furniture. You want to use the same method for furniture that has a high gloss, maybe like a varnish. Yeah.
Metal furniture, glass, anything that you would typically use something with water or moisture to clean.
Now, once you, get your walls cleaned up high and you move your contents to the central room, you get like your walls clean. You basically, clean the behind your walls, under your furniture, and then you move furniture back, baseboards, your floor, and then you move your furniture back. And then you clean like any areas that you didn't get to clean when you move the furniture. Once you put the furniture back in that area, now you clean the contents that you boxed up. Then you put it back into your furniture where you had it before, and then you can dispose of your boxes.
You wouldn't wanna put clean property back into the boxes that you put.
What?
the items. So you wouldn't wanna reuse the box, so if you're taking property off of a desk, so that you can move the desk away, and then you're taking the pieces out one by one and cleaning them, you don't wanna put any clean stuff back in the box that have the dirty property themselves.
We like to use like these brushes for like small corners for like the windows. A lot of these homes got a lot of ashes through the window, even though it was closed, you still got a little bit of ashes. So you kind of want to like work your way based on those window sills and just get as much as you can out. It's better to do it while it's dry. You don't want to do it, maybe like do basic like the scrubbing. If you have access to a HEPA vacuum, we have a sample of it down there. You want to basically clean a vacuum that before you wet it. There you go, that's a HEPA vacuum. Okay. Yes. Yes, so you want to vacuum like the windowsill first, and then anything that's remaining in the corners, you want to like scrub it with the brush and then vacuum at the same time. We try to use like if you can I get the camera? So
I was cleaning the window, I would vacuum out all of the visible soot or ash. And then before we use anything wet on it, it's a lot of work. I mean, it is a lot of work. We use a brush like this to kind of disturb the ash on the corners while vacuuming. So we're disturbing it to try to get it out of those corners and vacuum.
And don't forget about your safety equipment. You don't want to breathe all this dust, everything that's on your windowsills. That's just very small particles that can get into your lungs. Now, the reason why I mentioned about the brush is because not every vacuum has these little bristles that you have here. A lot of the vacuums just have an end like this, and that's what we use the little brush on the side.
If there's ash in the house, is there a difference between traffic damage and smoke damage, or if there's ash, do we just treat it like there's something damage?
Can you repeat that again? I'm sorry.
So my unit was like far enough from the fire that there's no like visible smoke damage, but there is ash inside the house. So should I just treat it like everything's contaminated, or should I just clean the visible ash?
That's a good question. She's asking if there was only ashes, if she should treat it like everything's contaminated. Contaminated is a little bit of an excessive word. We basically just because it's not necessarily contaminated, it's cleanable. So you want to clean every single surface, even every single surface, even if you can't see it. You want to, if this was a piece of furniture that I'm trying to clean, I would clean all the way around, basically front, back, little crevices and all that stuff. What you want is you want to pick up the fine dust, those fine particles that typically have some of the smell in the crevices, and that's where you're gonna get a lot of the smell out. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I guess my question is there a difference between smoke damage and ash?
There is, but obviously because smoke damage will leave a smell. but ashes is still contaminates pretty much every surface. There is a chance that you only have a little bit of ashes on flat surfaces. So if you wipe your hand on the wall, or you grab like a white towel and you wipe it, and nothing comes on it, then I would just do flat surfaces. Or something.
About the smoke and ash, like our house, less than a mile for burning. So we had a lot of smoke coming in for a couple of days until it all cleared out. I don't see visible ash, but I'm assuming it's that. And like everybody's worried about smoke damage, the house did smell for a few days. Does it mean that our clothes or furniture is contaminated, or does it doesn't tear down, but to go?
That's a difficult question to answer without seeing it. And the question was, in case there's somebody smell but they don't see anything, is that contamination? It's again, it's hard to answer that question without actually seeing it. But my assumption is that if you use your white towel and just wipe surfaces, and you don't bring anything black, anything basically on your towel. I should emphasize that if you see like a grayish stain onto your towel, that's usually your skin particles, dust that is typically inside of your home already. If you see like a black dust, then that's usually stood from the fire. That's usually how we identify if you do have some ashes inside of your house. But if you wipe it with a white towel and you don't bring anything, whether it's dry or whether it's wet, then you should be fine. It's probably just smell. That's the easiest way to answer it.
Extra dusty from the wind.
Yeah.
I said my window was a joke. So, but.
We need to hold questions right now. I know that's really hard, I know. Let's let them get through all the things that they've prepared, and we will take as many questions as possible. Okay?
When you scrub all this dust, you want to try to have a filter. We use professional grade air scrub, what we call air scrubbers, and negative air machines. We use HEPA filters. They're true HEPA machines, but in this condition, anything that you can get to just filter, basically the air will help you. Just because you want to catch those particles that you're basically putting up in there when you're scrubbing and wiping and so forth. Additional methods that you can use for cleaning your home. We don't offer those services, but we do offer some of them, but not all of them. It's ozone cleaning, like when you basically, if there's still a smell inside of your house, ozone, that's this machine over here, changes the smell particles to the molecular level from smelling particles to non-smelling particles. It's a very effective method to basically get rid of the smell. You may also want to do some duct cleaning, like in your vents. If you have any vents like central air conditioning, there's duct cleaning that may happen. Carpet cleaning and rug cleaning is also a possibility in case you have carpets that may have caught some other particles. Upholstery cleaning, we have a small machine over there that does upholstery, couches, basically anything that you can't really wipe with a wet towel. You at least want to vacuum first, and then you want to use an upholstery cleaner if it has an odor. And lastly, in case you still have some smell somewhere, you can remove your installation, but that's something, I know a lot of us are basically like tenants, so that's something that you would need to discuss with your landlord, because obviously that would need to be replaced too.
Hey Jesse?
Yeah.
Ricky, when you're demoing, you gotta raise the demo up, cause the folks in the back can't see it.
Okay.
So just keep speaking loudly into the mic and then raise your demo up so that we can see it in the back.
Did you guys hear about the installation, about basically if that's between the landlord and yourself, in case you guys are all tenants or something like that? I'm a tenant, so basically I would discuss it with basically my landlord as well.
We want to answer answer as many questions as possible, so it would be perfect if the questions are as general as possible, just so that it maybe affects as many people or a broader amount of people. If there's anything specific, like it might just be real specific between you and your landlord. We don't deal with tenants' rights or, you know, landlord disputes, so that's something that we could help direct you guys towards. But as far as like the process or cleaning or remediation, I'd love to open it up to questions.
Could you hold up the upholstery cleaner?
This would be perfect, like, for people that are doing it, like, on site, like, at their own home.
So that would be perfect for somebody that's doing it in their own home. It has it has water, you can put hot water inside, and it has a reservoir to basically pick up all that water, dirty water from, the account and so forth.
For your ducting, if the system has not been run, prior to the fire or during, after you've inspected it, do you still need to clean the ducting? Because you have a filter in front for leaching. So, will smoke still mitigating that, or?
Industry standard is they recommend having it on. And we don't even do duct cleaning, so I'm not just saying that because we don't offer that service. It's typically recommended, and I've never had an insurance company or an insurance district fight on it. Not after a situation like this, if you're so close to the fire.
Jesse, you mentioned not to, wet the surface when you're cleaning, but I've heard different, so I'm not sure, like, is there an area where you would spray water first?
There are lots of areas that we utilize piping for cleaning. I think it was going more with the eight-side method, that was with regard to wet cleaning the solution. All
For
faucets,
vacuuming
surface
of
walls.
the soot on the
First.
window.
Visible soot, we're gonna vacuum that up first, yeah, and then clean it. Oh, yeah, her question was just about dry cleaning, using a dry, procedure to clean versus wet. What, you know? What?
Can you lift up the solution that you clean with and where we can get that or what it's called?
It's, this specific one is called Firepower, it's by Omni Pro. OMNI Pro. It's mix it with water.
Can we get that at Home Depot?
Yeah. He purchased from Aramco, it's ARAMSCO. They're in Santa Fe Springs, so.
What are they called again?
The company, Aramco, ARAMSCO. He was just asking where we purchased the fire solution.
For the equipment you have to use for the last couple of steps, we talked about upholstery, red cleaning, the vent cleaning. If folks don't have that, is it something that they can buy? Is it something that they can rent? And if you're throwing out the waste afterwards, say to lend the machine to a friend, how do you do that without spreading the chemicals everywhere?
You mean after you clean your upholstery,
Yeah. What do you do with the debris or the waste?
like the dirty water? Is that specifically what you're asking?
Yeah.
Okay, so she's asking after you use an upholstery cleaner to clean your recliner, let's say, how do you go about disposing of the water before you pass it on to someone else?
Usually, that's just regular rinsing. We're assuming that all there is just smoke and dirt on the surfaces. So basically, we just rinse the machine and, dispose of the water. You can do it in a tub. You can do it maybe outside by your lawn, by a porch or something like that.
I mean, there was smoke and ash outside on the lawn, we don't have such a way of disposing of it.
Can you use that firepower to use your upholstery?
No, this is a wall wash, like a wall and ceiling wash, yeah. A hard surface wash, basically. Yeah, no, not.
For upholstery, there are products that, this is not one of them, was one of them. There's upholstery cleaning products. They're readily available at Home Depot too, but they tend to be a little bit not as strong as the ones that we use professionally. The ones that we use are usually concentrated, and there's a way for you to mix it and get the dilution ratio correct. But if you go to like a professional grade, then usually they're a little bit stronger.
But it's so significantly concentrated that like if you needed it to clean 2 bedrooms in your, 2 couches in your house, a bottle like this would be so excessive. So it'd be nice if like people could, if there was a way for people to share that, but the question was, do we use the fire wash on everything? No, it's just for walls and things. Go ahead.
How would you recommend cleaning an in-window AC unit?
Oh, what?
The best that I can tell you window AC units is vacuum on the inside, like vacuum as best as you can. And I believe that on the outside coils, you're able to use water. You can just rinse it, but don't put a lot of pressure in it, just a little bit of rinsing. But usually, we don't clean those, typically.
So to be clear, Fire Poppy Project has already purchased tons and tons and tons of materials. They're sitting at my house. Tons of stuff that some of it will be able to directly give you. Other stuff is some of this bigger equipment, machinery that we will set up a lending program. So we'll try to give a summary of kind of what those things are. If you've gotten the sheet, some of them might be on there as well. Yes, we are going to make available like almost all of this, if not all of it, to you as much as possible.
The one thing that I want to mention before I forget, I believe they purchased some ozone machines that you can use in your home. You don't want to breathe ozone. If you treat your home, you want to turn it on, get out right away. When you come back, wear a respirator, and when you walk into the property, try not to breathe as much as you need to, and just turn it off, open up your windows, and basically get out. Ozone is a heavy gas, so typically you have to run some fans too and face them up so that basically you can get all that ozone up high as well.
You don't mean fans. You mean like industrial sized air movers. Like this.
Like those.
So, yeah. It's important to say not everybody needs ozone treatment. We've cleaned plenty of houses since the fire. Not everybody needs a professional deodorization on top of cleaning. Sometimes cleaning is enough. Yeah. And keep in mind, if you're right next to a house that just burned down, you're gonna keep smelling smoke until that's gone. Even if the inside of your house doesn't smell like smoke, you're walking through that to get to your front door and into your house. You're gonna smell smoke. Yeah. So. Somebody new with a question? Go ahead.
Yeah, could you talk a bit about the additional measures that people whose structures were within the burn area should take? For example, people who are maybe the single standing structure way up in Altadena. Are there certain things that we should just be completely throwing away, like furniture, textiles, clothing? Like, how is it different for people in the burn area versus a little bit farther down?
Well, I mean, smoke is smoke and ash is ash,
I mean, we were a gas station burned down right behind our apartment, so we're assuming a lot more is like very, very toxic.
Yeah, and you might. We're not environmental specialists. We're not environmental specialists. And we're here really just talk about the smoke and cleanup. We've got like concerns with like contaminants that are in the air, or like asbestos contamination from all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Gasoline.
But like, can clothing be cleaned? Like,
yeah.
How do you clean clothes?
Just however you would have cleaned it before you had smoke damage. So that was what I went over in the beginning. Is that if you typically launder your clothes, then they launder them. And then ultimately, like this, again, this is like industry standard. And 99% of it being insurance related claims. So and again, I can't address the other stuff. We don't have specialists.
Sorry, if you're I'm with USC Environmental Justice Research Lab. If your home has been burned, or in her case, like she's directly behind the structure that has been burned, please do not try to clean it yourself. But in the event that you do, or you have to, the EPA, TCSC, and somebody else has released some guidance around that. You're unfortunately gonna have to get rid of most of your stuff because unfortunately there is a lot of toxic stuff that is getting stuck to that. So like you mentioned, asbestos, lead, in her case, she's behind a gas station. All of those volatile organic compounds will stick to your items. Anything that is porous, meaning fabric, all sorts of things, anything that you can attach to, please get rid of it. It's your health is so much more important. Also, since we're talking about cleaning, we do have a DIY air filter infographic for how to make your own DIY air filter, and that can help with the cleanup process. So like they mentioned, there's ash, there's all sorts of different particles in the air while you're cleaning up. You can make one of these, they're relatively cheap to make. All of these items you can find at Home Depot, at Lowe's, or Walmart. You can also buy them on Amazon. And so you can have this with you, turn it on after cleaning up, so it's picking up all of those particles, and it also helps with the smell. It won't completely get rid of the smell because it's not like a mozo thing, but it will help. So I think a bunch of flyers here in English and Spanish. Welcome to come get some, or I can pass them around. But yeah, we also have them online, on our Instagram, on our website. Come see me. I have cards that I can share with folks. But yeah, just wanted to put that little plug out there. We do have resources available for people.
Just to clarify, so, okay, we can walk us through all the furniture, let's say, because we cannot clean it properly.
If it's been like burned,
Yes. If what, if we've got smoke damage or ash damage.
Yeah, we're gonna bring it back real quick. There's still a lot of questions, and additionally, PTU it has been developing a fire guide to collect resources and use our own expertise. So I have a PhD in atmospheric chemistry and physics. Diana is in the environmental health program at USC. And so we're going to chat because I want to grab some of your resources. But to explain a little bit more of the environmental kind of chemical side and provide what resources we can get together, those are really hard questions. Your safety is the most important thing. And if you are in the burn zone, even if you're outside of the burn zone, depending on how close you were, there's lots of stuff in there. I did confirm there is lead inside my home on the floors and stuff. And so the concern there is when you're doing this cleaning or just living in there, you're going to kick it up and then breathe it. Much of the stuff in the air inside your home is probably settled. Anytime you open the door, you open the window, or a big truck goes by, or a big wind blows, that stuff can get kicked up again. So we're also talking about air quality, air purifiers. Fire Poppy is also getting materials for that to distribute to folks. And there are some additional things you can do in your home to continue to keep that air quality as best as possible. And we are working on a guide to get all that information to you. So we're going to return to questions, but please use your hand to help us out. So I'm just going to point out people I haven't seen ask a question yet. So sorry, you're hiding down there. Go ahead.
I just wanted to double check anything that's in a drawer, in a cabinet, or in something that's enclosed. Inside stuff I don't have to touch, or should I take all that stuff out and clean it?
Everything.
Okay.
And, so the question was, what about things in drawers? Like, if you've got, I don't know, a plastic bin and it's closed up and it's underneath 20 other plastic bins, you need to get to that bottom of that plastic bin. You need to clean off the outside of that bin, right? We're gonna open up the plastic bin. Typically with an insurance claim, if there's like clothing inside of there or something like that, yeah, unless they ask us not to. But we clean everything. So typically when we go to a house, we clean everything. And all of the soft goods, like the clothing and pillows and blankets and all that stuff is sent to a soft goods cleaner. They launder what can be laundered, they dry clean the rest, they hold on to it, and they don't bring it back until the structure's all clean. So this is not that type of situation. So we're talking DIY, right? Which is again like why I didn't address the questions with regard to the stuff that's not smoke and ash. That's not our special.
So like a Christmas tree in a plastic bag, just at the
a personal decision. And some things, some things aren't worth cleaning. Jesse and I talk about it all the time, but it's not our decision, right? Like an example, here's a ball of string. How are you gonna clean it? It's a fabric. You could throw it in the washing machine. It might come out okay. You might be able to still use it, but I think it cost me $2.99. So I would throw this away if it were contaminated with food. Especially if I was gonna make like something for my kid to play with, or I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like a personal decision. Right here with the black and white packet.
Yeah, I've been on like all the forums, on Facebook and on Nextdoor, and the people who are actually getting their houses mitigated, everybody's getting like differing opinions from all of the companies. So we're confused about what we're supposed to keep and what things you have to throw away. Like, some people are being told that no matter what, you have to get rid of your beds. No matter what, you have to get rid of your sofas. Because they're saying that they're sponges and they just soak up chemicals. And then some people are saying, no, they just said to wash them and they'll be fine. And then some people are saying that they were told that if there's sheets and things over your bed, you don't have to get rid of your bed. What's the truth?
Because we don't get to decide what gets thrown away and what the insurance company's gonna pay for it. That's one of the things that we always just defer to the insurance company. We don't know what they're, like a homeowner might ask me, what are they gonna pay to replace my bed? I don't know, because I don't write that check. If you ask me, I'll be like, yeah, we'll replace our bed. But and I'll be honest, it depends on who you ask, and you'll get a bunch of different responses regarding whether or not you need to get rid of your bed.
Yeah, because we're beginning to wonder if it's not just that there's some companies that are just exploiting us for money.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean remediation companies or people?
Yeah, remediation companies that are making the decision.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's not up to me whether the insurance company is going to replace a bed, so I don't know how they would be the ones making out on that, because it would be better if they said they could clean it, right? Replace it. So.
I want to tell everyone before anyone starts leaving, our application form for if you want to get some of these materials or get some volunteers to help clean your home is now on our link tree. We'll get it out on the social stuffs, but at first it's on the link tree. If you don't know how to use that, it's linktr.ee/Pasadena Tenants Union. But it's linktr.ee/. It's a little tricky. It's there. You'll see it later, but just so you know, it'll be out so you can start filling it out.
Yeah, everyone, write down this link. Right now, you can't see it. Alright, you guys see it now? Okay, so it's this second one, Linktree/Pasadena Tenants Union. There's a bunch of different links on there. The first one is a link to the application for equipment essentials. Okay, so this second link, linktr.ee/Pasadena Tenants Union, has a bunch of resources. The first one at the top is a link to the application to sign up for materials and help from Fire Copy Project. So if you can write down or take a picture of this link right now and fill out this intake form as soon as possible, that'd be really helpful.
Someone said something about changing HVAC filters, but would you recommend purging the system as well? I don't know if that's something you can do, but ours is old, so there's probably accumulated dust for many years, and I feel like when you turn it on, it's gonna blow all over the house, right? Purging it, can you do that?
again, because we don't actually do the duct cleaning, I don't know what purging would be that cleaning.
Duct cleaning is a thing.
Yeah,
Many companies provide that service. Many provide it individually. Well, you can hire them just to do duct cleaning. These guys don't do that.
we sub it out, so when we have a job where an insurance company is taking care of the structure, we sub that to a company that just does duct cleaning. And that's why I would recommend having it done by the OSA.
How do you clean screens?
Clean windows with water.
Do you
And-
like, can you vacuum it?
Remember, there's visible dust when we vacuum it first, like any other surface. Is vacuum the visible dust, and then just the water cleaning solution. Yeah. I mean, just basically, I'm gonna keep saying that my response to that will be the same. If you would normally use water to clean it, then you would use water. If you would normally not put water on a surface to clean it, you would use a process with something dry that can
The big
no matter
difference
what it is.
is you're gonna wear your PPE. Your mask, your goggles, your sleeves. That is the really big difference between the normal cleaning and this, is protecting all of your body.
And, like, I would say how in depth it is. Most people don't move their furniture even when they vacuum, right? So, this is really in-depth. This is basically moving everything you've ever had in your house and cleaning everything. So, yeah, I don't know if it's like that. Is somebody, are you pointing over here? Go ahead.
Two-part question. One, do you recommend testing
Testing for,
whatever's in the air?
I'll be honest, if you can't, pay, if you have your house cleaned through your insurance company, I don't know where the money's gonna come from for the testing, so we're talking about, do I recommend that you go out and get the testing? By all means, if you have the money to do that, yeah.
What type of testing would you recommend? 'Cause
I don't, remember, we're here for smoke and ash cleanup, so if we don't need to really test for that, we can see it, and we know that it's all around, because people, there were wildfire homes burning down, but if you're talking about like lead and asbestos and other, like air quality things, that's not our specialty.
Okay. Second part of that question, are you guys finding any heavy metals in, during the remediation process?
My response is gonna be the same, so we're here to address ash and smoke.
Okay.
Okay. There are people here that have air quality special, backgrounds, and I'm sure that they probably have a better response to that. Did you want to address it right now? But that's not what we're here for. Sorry.
We want to do testing for air that's a little bit tricky. Air doesn't exist in a vacuum. Yeah, so his question was about testing air quality around your home. It's a little tricky because unfortunately air doesn't exist in a vacuum, so what that means is there's stuff all around you. Given that the area of Pasadena is a little bit older and those homes are definitely older, I would say most likely there is some sort of either lead, asbestos, heavy metals in and around you. As far as testing for that or monitoring for that, it's very expensive. It's not easy. You can't just like take a sample and send it off somewhere. I want to say you probably can try to reach out to your local health department or DTSC, which is the Department of Toxic Substances Control, and the South Coast Air Quality Management District. They have strict guidelines for that, and I think right now they're definitely big those types of questions, and rightly so. So I would sort of maybe send you towards them and ask them those questions. I don't know if they have a plan in place for monitoring all of that. But I would say we would just on the air side of caution, most likely that is present, and that's why wearing PPE is very important. Wearing gloves, making sure you're masking up, make sure you have goggles, make sure you're not directly touching everything and putting it in your mouth, make sure you're wearing your shoes properly, that you're not tracking in stuff from outside. All of those things will just like protect you personally. Yes.
If you get cleaning or do cleaning for ash and smoke contamination, can you assume that other contaminants that might be toxic are also then cleaned up? So you clean for ash, and that means you've also cleaned up any lead and asbestos that might be there?
I don't know the answer to that, because I would be too questionable for that. Sorry, so the question was, can you assume if you're cleaning for ash and smoke, are you also then cleaning for
for those types, for different types of chemicals. Bosman here said, no, she's a professor at Occidental College. She says you're not, so I think that requires different type of remediation.
Just want to add something for everyone's reference. There are, the PUSD school system has done, or at least started their cleaning of the schools. They have published, or when they are done, published the environmental testing results after the fact. So after the cleanup, so you don't have a comparison to before, but that might be something you would find interesting or helpful in your decisions, is looking at what PUSD did and what kinds of contaminants might have been present after. Another thing, on social media, especially on Reddit, people have been sharing when they've gotten tests done at their home. There's lots of homes that have confirmed these other contaminants, heavy metals. And lastly, I know we have so many questions and we're probably feeling like we're not getting them answered to the degree that we want to, or that there's like no real answer. And when you're stuck there, that is where we fill in with organizing. So our, mission here is to kind of educate you on what kind of cleaning that could be done and how to do it safely. But the work doesn't end there. That we have to keep fighting for all the things that we need, real authorities. We do need the health department. We need EPA. All of these groups to take notice of the situation and take our concerns seriously. So I agree. We should all get testing. Personally, also from a scientific curiosity point, but my own personal concern. And so please join PTU, join your local tenants union. Pasadena's forming a new one. Join any of the other groups that are organizing to get our officials, our politicians, the various authorities on board to do things to a degree that feels as legitimate and as comforting as possible, okay? So, yeah, it's right now.
Oh, so Lender, I'm just gonna, we're really just gonna talk about smoke and ash thing out. So they've got the answers to the other stuff. Maybe they'll have a meeting at a later date for that, or maybe when we wrap up, she can come up here and address that stuff. We're not experts with regard to that. We don't clean up asbestos or lead, and we're just gonna address the smoke and ash cleanup. So.
I'm sorry, a quick interruption. With the owner of a gray Toyota Corolla 9AYD, please move your car. The janitor needs to get into the closet and is not able to. Gray Toyota, okay, cool, thank you.
Do you recommend throwing things out like silicone, plastic baby bottles? Like what are the things that you just wouldn't take risk of, continuing to have like plastic toys that we have for the kids and like, can you clean those things?
With regards to like making, like, so she's asking about what about like baby bottles and things like that. Like I wouldn't clean my baby's bottle, but I can't tell you to throw in your baby bottle. It's really a personal decision. Can it be clean? Yeah. Everything can be clean, but are you still gonna want to put it in your baby's mouth? Probably not. Anything that my kid would put in their mouth, I would probably not. Okay. Maroon jacket.
So for the clothes, I know she has said just don't risk it, throw everything away.
She was talking about like asbestos contamination.
Oh, okay. So our windows are closed, but you can see ashes in the corner. So I'm assuming everything's has some kind of damage. I noticed my skin was sensitive while the ash was falling, so I put my face against one of my sweaters, and I did get like red and itchy, and I noticed that. So I'm assuming everything, but there's like a lot of clothes. Should we just like wash it and just I know that you said that's on us. But there maybe like if some things are hidden in the back of the closet, are those safer? Should I just go?
I would wash it.
Just wash everything.
Especially if you're very sensitive.
Okay. How would you wash, let's say like stuffed toys that are on the inside or toys that have electronics?
Because you can't, I mean, you can't put it in the washing machine. You can't take the electronics out, right? Yeah. Especially if it's a kid's item.
Repeat the question. Repeat the question.
Oh, I'm sorry, she was asking about like a stuffed animal with like electronics on the inside of it. Like what to do with that, typically you would launder or, dry clean an item like that, so yeah, it's got electronics inside of it. The black mask in the back.
Would you mind going through the list of the equipment that you said we should use and just naming like an alternative that people who aren't in the industries could access? Whether it's something that we already have in our house, like a long sleeve shirt, or N95 masks if we can't get P100s, or an alternative that's more accessible for those of us who have to clean something as soon as possible with not ideal equipment.
So, we have the equipment, essentially.
We have like literally $20,000 of equipment sitting at my house. And for you all, especially if you need to do it immediately, we're looking Friday, Saturday, Sunday of having times for people to come check that stuff out, borrow some of the equipment. A lot of it will be for you to use and dispose. So maybe they can provide some other common things, but the idea here is that we can get you most of what you need.
Thank you.
So I guess like the simple thing. So like maybe if you don't have a HEPA vacuum, you use a regular vacuum, right? Would that be ideal? No. It's hard for me to answer some of those questions because it's not what we would recommend. And so as professionals in the industry, as someone who has handled insurance claims for 20 years on the liability behind all of that, I don't have DIY like suggestions with regard to like an air scrubber, because you should use an air scrubber, right? So like I don't know. I'd have to look into it and get creative, but I don't have suggestions for it. There are probably things that you could use, like a vacuum's gonna suck things up just like a HEPA vacuum will, but it doesn't have the right filters, right?
So I just wanted to confirm, like, cleaning appliances if we're doing it on our own. What would be the cleaning protocol difference between something that we use to prepare food, say an oven, or like a blender, or an air fryer versus like things like a washing machine or a fan that doesn't contact food? What would be the difference in the cleaning protocol?
So like I had ash and smoke in my condo as well. The question was like what kind of like in the kitchen, she's asking about like her blender and her stove and those are metal, non-porous items or glass, and so I would clean them. I'm eating off of all the surfaces that I was eating on before I had smoke and ash in my house. So is there somebody gonna disagree with me? Probably. There's probably somebody in the room that will disagree and say that all of it needs to be thrown away. But again, if it's non-porous and you're eating off of it, it's a dish. I think it's fine.
Regularly, like you would before?
Yeah, we wash a dish just like we would wash a dish prior to.
So there's no special solution or no special cleaning product?
They're designed to be cleanable, so they're more durable than like regular dishes.
Yeah, like an oven would not need to be. I don't know. I don't know how we would support like replacing or like disposing of like an oven or anything metal or non-porous. Blue mask. Maybe it's a green mask.
Oh, I can't see what, I forgot. Is there a way to clean like papers, books, photographs?
Yeah, so the chem sponge. So, if she's asking about like papers, dry goods, this picks it up. We wipe it. Just like you would wipe a cloth like this if somebody was keeping it.
Sorry, what was that called?
This is the chem sponge.
CHEM, like chemistry.
When we say dry clean, we don't mean like fingers that go with dry cleaner. This is a dry clean procedure because it's dry.
Office, you can change it.
Yeah, that's good.
How often?
How often should you change a gas pump?
Well, these are washable, so even if you have it, if you wipe a surface like a book or like a surface like a box on the outside, I mean, you wouldn't clean a box, but I'm just using as an example. It doesn't have a shine to it. So basically, you would clean it, and maybe it gets all dark. You can throw it in the washer. It'll still be dark, but it'll still pick up more soot. We wash them in the industry. These are washable and reusable.
Should we clean outside the house before we start inside with the other house?
She's asking, should you clean outside before you clean inside?
Ideally, yes, because you're going to be bringing everything into your house. You want to hose down the outside, you want to vacuum whatever you can. No, leaf blowers, there's an options for that. But basically, just rinse as much as you can, especially if you're going to be tracking it inside of your house.
But I mean, like windows, wall.
Yeah.
Outside of the, right?
A note on outside stuff or water in general. Do not power wash. That's so powerful. It's gonna shoot stuff up and not just like soak it. You could also cause damage. Yeah. Also with the water in general, the health authorities have said that some of the ash can become like acidic. So that's definitely, you want to wear PPE, cover your body. And I would avoid soaking. Use as little water as possible to push that stuff away. Another method, you could put this plastic sheeting down to walk from wherever you're getting equipment into your home and back and forth, so you don't track in the outside too. But be really careful with the water.
Or take your shoes off outside. There's ash and soot everywhere. It's everywhere. Go ahead.
Have you guys gone over the difference of how extensively to clean based on how close you are to the fire? So like if we're a mile away, like would we have to clean absolutely everything as well, or?
My answer to that is the same. Like, are you gonna pick which stuff clean and which stuff not? Like, how do we know like the stuff in the middle of the room's clean, this isn't, and now everything's all been moved around over the last 3 weeks? So in the industry, again, when we go in and clean a structure, we clean everything. We clean all of it. And ideally, remember I said that like when you have insurance claim and they come, a remediation company like me comes in and takes everything off to a warehouse, cleans it up. The soft goods go to a dry cleaner. The structure's getting cleaned while all the contents are away from the structure. Bring it all back to a nice clean house. But we're talking about DIY, doing it as much as we can, right? With the
As far as
resources
like
that we have.
replacing furniture, is that something that we can worry about if you're not directly surrounded by burn structures?
And again,
And I'm not directly surrounded by burn structures, but with some really old windows and we had ash come in, do we still be concerned about replacing our furniture?
I didn't say anything about replacing furniture.
Well, I know, but I'm just elaborating.
No, I didn't say, I didn't say anything about replacing furniture.
I'm asking in addition.
She's asking if she should replace her furniture.
So, again, personal decision. Doesn't matter if it's a baby blanket or a stuffed animal. The industry typically cleans everything. If you feel like it's something you should dispose of, that's a personal decision. And you're gonna find different information everywhere. Everyone's gonna tell you something different. There are 50 different opinions in this room about whether or not your mattress should be disposed of or not. We say it can be clean. The industry standard is that it can be clean. But if you choose to dispose of it, by all means, I get that everyone needs to feel safe. So, my answer is going to be the same to all contents. If you don't think you should keep it, dispose of it. But the industry standard is that it can be clean. Again, unless it's baby toys, porous items that children play with.
Can you talk us through shoes? Like, we all walked in here, there was debris and ash out there, now it's on the carpet, it's on our shoes.
Yep.
Like, I feel like we're just walking in it everywhere all the time.
Yeah.
Can you talk us through that and kind of mitigation? Shoe covers?
With regard to your own home? Like, yeah, we just talked about that, about wearing booties, taking your shoes off outside.
But like, okay, so the shoes are off outside, but if we leave them outside and there's wind, like then they're covered again. Like, do we then bring them inside? Do we wipe them down?
I guess you could have like a plastic bag inside your house, you can put them in, you know, I mean, it depends on how deep, yeah, it's point you're all walking around, right, in the carpet.
Thank you.
How would you clean certain shoes that are hard to clean, like heels or like, let's say, really expensive Nike?
Yeah, soft goods cleaner, somebody who specializes in this kind of yeah. Unfortunately, some people are gonna have some things that are not worth throwing away, right? So, and then I feel situation.
Once you clean this, is there gonna be a second round of cleaning that you would have to do? Is it gonna be like something that we're going to be continuously doing? Because things are falling and you're moving stuff.
I can speak to that. So,
I think it's personal opinions. I think that is a great idea to do a really deep cleaning, like what these folks do. I will say that I haven't been staying in my home since the fire started. The first day we went back, we were in the panic and oh my God, we need to do something. So we did start wiping up stuff. It was stupid, but we did it. And even since then, every time we go back, we see more. So the ash is still everywhere. I mean, they're working on the big debris removal from the burn zone. That's going to be a long process. It's also not going to be a perfect process. They will have trucks that have to drive through part of town to get to the disposal site. Every time the wind blows, that stuff can be picked up again. So in my opinion, it's do the steep clean and regularly, take a check, take a flashlight, get close to the floor by your doorways, your windows, and see, does it look like there's a lot more dust again, or that looked more like the soot from before and not normal, just skin cells and cat litter. But I would say do some of that cleaning again. In the meantime, on that note though too, there are some things that you can do to help the weathering and the seal in your home and your windows. I know a lot of us renters have cracked windows. There's some things, and we're adding this into a little guide document too, ways to seal those. There's something really cheap called rope caulk or caulk stripping. That's pretty easy to apply and remove. So you could do that multiple times if you don't have HVAC and you have to have your windows open sometimes. But I would say be diligent on paying attention to your surroundings. If the wind is picking up again, make sure maybe clean up again after that event. If the debris disposal routes are going to be public, I think at some point. If you live along that disposal route, I'd be careful, pay attention, maybe make sure your windows are all closed and sealed through that full process. But also the other things are like air purifiers, blocking up holes, this kind of stuff. Again, I'm hoping to develop a little more information for y'all on that part too. But yeah, this stuff gets picked up, it falls out. It gets picked up, it falls out. So it is gonna be kind of a repeat thing. Hopefully though that this big deep cleaning will be enough. You hopefully won't need to redo your walls again, but at least the vacuuming, the HEPA vacuum of new ash and stuff that has come in, and probably the softer materials like carpet and couch or top.
I wanted to ask you, how often do you guys have your tenants union meetings?
Yes, I'll talk about that in a sec. I want to just check in. Okay, so I think yeah. Okay. So to kind of summarize a lot of what we talked about, these guys do like regular industry cleaning of smoke and ash kind of stuff. They don't do environmental hygiene. They don't do that testing. They're not pros on the chemistry and the specific compounds, but the approach of how to do something like post-fire. This, is a little more specific because so many, human structures were burned that it's not just like a campfire, of course. So there's a lot of open-ended questions there. It's tough. And a lot of this will come down to personal decision. which I know is really, really scary. I'll tell you from my experience, if you have the money or the ability to like dispose of more things, then dispose of more things. That's how I would play it. Like you said, if you had kids, or I'm gonna get rid of everything that my cats put in their mouth. But of course, again, it will depend on how close you were or where you were downwind. If you like had visible ash, like you know for sure the ash came in. Those are really, really hard choices, and unfortunately, none of us in this room at the time can tell you for sure what is the correct move. But we'll try to help out as much as possible. So there was a question about PTU. We can talk about that in a bit. Are there more questions kind of about this cleaning process? We'll go here and then white mask. And oh, okay. I'm gonna go right to left. Green shirt.
Okay, for you, how close are you to the burner and where, can we get that roll call that you're talking about? Is that something you can get at Home Depot or?
I don't remember if we ordered some. It is cheap and we can probably order some too. Yeah, if we don't already.